What's up YouTube, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video guys, I am going to be chit-chatting with you guys about a personal issue that I've been going through for about a year. So right now what I'm going to do is just get ready because I'm going to head out to get my coffee, and we're going to sit and chit-chat about the issue that I've been having for about a year now, guys. Alright YouTube, so I had to get the snow off my back window. As I told you guys, I am going to be chit-chatting with you guys about a personal issue that I've been going through for about a year, guys. It's been about a year, probably a little bit over a year, and I'm going to just share this journey that I've been going through for about a year, guys. Alright, and there's definitely going to be parts to this. This is part one. Alright guys, so to begin my story, pretty much I'll start off by saying that, again, if you guys don't know, I've lived in Canada now since 2011. I originally came from Atlanta, Georgia. That's where I was born and raised. But I moved to Canada in 2011. And from when I first come to Canada, I lived in an area called Toronto. I lived there for maybe 1 year. And then I end up leaving Toronto due to domestic violence issues, which I'm going to, keep that in the next story. But I just want to, explain to you guys how I actually got to the city I'm in now. I actually really did like Toronto, but again, I had to leave due to domestic violence issues. And I ended up in Ottawa, December 2011. I literally came to this city that I'm in right now 2 days after Christmas. And so when I landed in Ottawa, guys, I ended up in the YMCA. It's basically a shelter. And at the time I had 5 kids. I was there, for maybe from December to July of 2012. So December 2011 to July 2012. And that's when I was placed in housing or whatever. And it wasn't the best of the best area. It wasn't the best of a place to stay, but I ended up in housing. And so, I was grateful. I didn't complain. The only thing I really complained about is, just the trouble that was going on. A lot of, some words I can't say, guys, but, there was a lot of crime and things like that. It wasn't the best area to raise kids. And so, alright guys, so I got the coffee here, and as I was telling you guys, basically, the housing that I lived in after I left the shelter, it wasn't the best of the area. I think I lived there maybe 2 years, and I ended up leaving in 2016 to another housing. And so this housing was much better. The area was much better. I was okay with it. And I lived there for maybe a year or so, and then I had to, I actually got evicted from this place due to a situation that didn't even, it wasn't my fault, but that's a whole nother story as well. But I ended up getting evicted from that place, and I had to go into a shelter yet again. And I went from 2 different shelters until I actually found another place. And so from that place, I ended up living in the Overbrook area. And I lived at Overbrook area for maybe 2 years. And then I had to leave the Overbrook area because the house that I was living in had water issues. and a pipe bust in the house, and I end up being forced to leave. So that situation wasn't my fault. So from that, I left, and I end up staying in 2 different shelters as well. Due to my family size, guys, I was moved around, right? So I lived in 2 different shelters, and then I ended up with this place. Now, I will let you know, while I was in the shelter, when you're in the shelter, they give you an option. They give you an option to wait on housing, and housing could take years. Or they give you the option to find your own place. And that's basically what I did, because I really wanted to get out of that shelter setting, and I didn't want to wait on housing. I didn't want to go back into housing as well, because again, I had bad experience living in housing. So I found the current house that I'm living in is through a private landlord, and I was very grateful for it. Like, it's only God that helped me to get the house that I'm in right now. So yeah, I got a private landlord, and I still got assistance to help support me pay the rent and things like that. And so, hold on, let me take a sip. Oh, that's good. That tastes really good. And so basically, guys, the house that I live in right now, I've literally been living here for about 5 years. I'm just going to fast forward. Living here for 5 years. I've never really had big issues with my landlord, besides the fact that he's not an easy guy you could talk to. He's not an easy guy. And so if anything goes wrong with the house, guys, you know, like maintenance issues and things like that, I've always had problems when it comes to those type of things, because again, he's not an easy guy to deal with. And I'm just going to give y'all one example. The first year and a half of living in a place that I live in now, one of my children put a small alcohol bottle down the toilet. We have 3 bathrooms, by the way. So this particular washroom is called a powder room, and it's on the first floor. At the time, she was about 2 years old. Now she's like 6, right? So she, and I may be a little bit off with the age, but I believe she was 2 years old at the time. And I didn't know at the time that she put the alcohol bottle down the toilet until the landlord removed the toilet, and he told me about it. So fast forward, when he removed the toilet and he found the alcohol bottle, he spazzed out, guys. He literally, he just went ham. He went nuts. He was turning red. You know, by the way, he's a Caucasian guy. He was turning red, guys. And he was just really rage quitting. And he was just like, this is unacceptable. This can't happen. And so long story short, basically, guys, the way that he behaved when I told him about the toilet issues, from that point, I was just uneasy about telling him if anything else happened around the house. So yeah, you know, other things did happen, and sometimes I was just like contemplating, how am I going to tell this guy, because I see the way that he behaves. Like, I would say the second issue I had was pertaining to the washer. The washer downstairs became clogged, and at the time I didn't know it, but a sock became clogged inside of like the drain pipe, and I didn't know this, but you know, he sent a guy out to take a look at it, and that was the result of it, and he was raging about that as well. So it was just like, you know, I would say those are the issues that I have with him. It's like when things happen around the house, you can't talk to him about it. Anyway, fast forward to the main issue that I've been having. Okay, this is the main issue. And this started back in 2023. Besides all the maintenance issues and me explaining to you guys how he is, back in 2023, and it was pertaining to rent money, right? I receive assistance through 3 different ways. I get something called child tax. It's like money that the government gives families, low-income families, or, you know, families in need. It's child tax for a child 0 to 18 years. And then I get something called Ontario Works. And then there's another program called a rent supplement program that assists with my rent. And so they basically calculate everybody in your house, and they, give you the money according to how many people live in your house. And I'm thankful for this program, guys, because the first 2 years of living in the house, I didn't get this support. I started getting rent supplement the 3rd year of living in the place that I live in right now. Now, this rent money goes directly to the landlord. I don't see the money. I don't touch it. It goes directly to his account. Now, the first year of receiving his money, I was receiving a certain amount. The second year, the money increased, and I wasn't aware of it. I did the renewal, but they never sent me the entitlement form. It's a form called an entitlement form, where it gives you the breakdown for the whole year of how much you're going to receive and how much is going to be deposited into the landlord's account. So I never got that breakdown. Mind you guys, I emailed the rent supplement program multiple times, and I asked them. They were never getting back to me. I even left messages. And so they never got back in contact with me. Anyway, I found out later that they had increased the amount of money that they were giving. And so what was happening, guys, I was overpaying my landlord. I was overpaying him, and I was overpaying him for about, I want to say, 7 months. But when I realized it, I contacted him, and I basically was like, hey, can you check your bank statements to see how much you're getting for the rent supplement program? Because I believe that I'm overpaying you. And so, and I don't know why I said I believe. I knew that I was overpaying him, because finally Rent Supplement got back in contact with me with the entitlement to show me how much I was receiving. And the money had increased. So he's playing foolish. He's like, oh, I don't know. I have a lot of things coming through my account. I don't know. I believe he knew. I believe he knew that the money had increased. He just didn't want to say nothing. Anyway, long story short, it basically spiraled out of control from there. When I asked my landlord to give me back the rent money that I was overpaying him, he refused to do that. He started telling me, there's maintenance issues going on with the house, and I'm not going to pay you back rent money until we sort the problems with the house. Like, he's claiming that I damaged his house, which I told him I didn't damage anything. It's wear and tear. So it just became a big issue, guys. So I would say from the time that I told the landlord about the rent money, and I requested that he give that money back, because mind you, it was a whole different issue. It was a whole separate issue from what he was talking about. He trying to say, there's problems with the house, and I'm not going to give that money back until we sort the problems with the house. It was a whole nother issue. So like I say, it spiraled out of control. Within the time that I told this man I needed my rent money back, I would say a week and a half time, he was giving me an eviction notice. He told me through text, you need to find another place to stay. I don't think it's working out. And I'm like, what is this? And so, guys, because I have a heightened sensitivity to when there's something wrong. Like, guys, I could pick up on people's energy. I picked up on his energy, and I texted him back. I was like, I think you're trying to put me out because I asked for my rent money back, and I think you were looking for a reason to put me out anyway, and this is the reason. And he said, no, I'm just not happy with how you're taking care of my house, and I think that you're not happy as well. All of this is through text. And I'm telling this guy, you don't know how I feel. I'm actually very grateful to have a place to stay. I'm actually very grateful to have a place to raise my children. And that's not true how you think I feel. So basically, guys, like I say, it's going to be a part 2 and 3 and probably a 4, because this story just keeps spiraling out of control. So basically, he asked me to leave, and I refused to leave because it just didn't make sense that this man is asking me to leave, all because I asked for rent money. And so literally a week later, after the conversation, there's an eviction notice in my mailbox. And I see that he wants me to be gone by October 2023. And so, I've never really gone through an issue like that, besides the issue when I told y'all I got evicted from this one place, but it never was this deep. So when I got the eviction papers, I didn't know what to do. I'm just like, well, should I just leave? But then I'm like, how can I leave when, you know, I financially, I'm not stable enough to just pack up and leave and go to another place. If I have to leave, the only place I would be going is another shelter again. So it become a very stressful moment for me, you guys, and I didn't know what to do. And so, long story short, I ended up contacting legal aid or a legal clinic. It supports low-income individuals with lawyers. And so basically I got advice from the lawyer. They were only advising me what to do. They weren't like assisting me, you know, accepting me as a client. They were just advising me. Guys, I'm just like thinking about everything because there's so much to this story. And I'm like, I want to get it all out, but I don't know. Like I say, it's going to be a lot of different parts to this story. So anyway, the lawyers were advising me that you can either leave, but there's a process. They're like, the landlord can't just put you out. There's a process to it. You have to go to court, and a judge has to see fit that you have to be put out. And so I'm like, okay. So basically, I didn't leave on the date he told me to leave. And so October 2023 passed. Next thing you know, I got a official letter from the landlord and tenant board where he actually filed to get me out of there. Because again, like I said, the lawyer said the first step, a landlord could issue you a written eviction, but it's not a legal thing. The legal thing is when they file with landlord and tenant board, and that's what he did. He filed with landlord and tenant board, and I got that paper, and a court date was set for, I believe, May 2024. The year may be off. Yeah, it was May 2024 because I got the first eviction October 2023, and that passed. So I got the official court date May 2024. And so that date came, and I actually won that case, guys. Okay. I'm fast forwarding a lot, and I forgot to tell y'all that the lawyers that advised me, they eventually took me on as a client to support me with this eviction. So that was that. So when that May court date came up, the lawyer was there to support me. And when I tell y'all, my lawyer, I'm just gonna give her first name, not her last name. Her name is Sylvia. When I tell y'all, this lady is an angel. Guys, she is an angel sent from God, man. This lady has supported me ever since she took on my case back in 2023. She's a pure angel. She has helped me so much, it makes me just want to get teary-eyed. But, you know, it's all good. So she came with me that court date, May 2024, and we won that case. Guys, I literally was so nervous before the court date. I didn't know what was going to happen. I'm like, man, I'm probably going to get evicted, because I heard stories of how nowadays they're favoring the landlords, and landlords are, you know, they're favoring landlords. So, but that wasn't my case. I won the case due to a preliminary issue, guys, that my lawyer caught. I didn't even know. Basically, she researched and found out that the landlord did not file a particular document in time. So it was a preliminary issue. She caught that, and so the case was thrown out. And that's what happened. So because the landlord is most definitely wanting me to get out, guys, can y'all believe this guy ended up filing another eviction the same day? The same day he didn't win that court case, he filed another eviction on me. And it took about a month or so for me to get another official court date to see if I'm going to be evicted. So I got another document, I would say July 2024, and that court date was set for November 27, 2024. So from July, August, September, October, November, it took about 4 months to get a court date. So today is January the 5th, guys. That court date for the second eviction passed November 2027. So I've had that court date, and I'm gonna give y'all the story on that one. Okay, so basically this is, like I say, part one. I had the court date May 2024. We won that court date due to preliminary issues, guys. And so I waited for the second court date, and I'm going to explain to you guys what happened with that court date that passed November 27th, because it's a lot. All right, guys. So the court date that I had, November 27th, 2024, this court hearing was set for, I believe, 1 p.m. in the afternoon. And basically, I showed up with my lawyer, and the landlord showed up with his lawyer. And this court case went on for 2 hours. Okay? It went on for 2 hours, guys. And, you know, basically the landlord was trying to say that he's homeless and that he's living with his parents. He has no place to stay, and he needs his place, right? This is the story that he's given. Mind you, just a little backstory on my landlord. He's a single guy. He's way younger than me. He's a single guy. He has no children. He works for the city. And apparently, according to my lawyer, she did some research on him. She found out that he had 12 properties along with the property that I live in. And so, like I say, my lawyer is an angel, guys. She knows how to find out information, and I love that about her, because without her, I would never know any of this stuff. I know I would have just gotten evicted a long time ago. So anyway, she found out he has 12 properties. So he's telling the judge he's homeless. He's living on his parents' couch in the basement. He has no place to stay. And so the judge, during the court hearing, is asking him, do you have kids? He's like, no. And I think the judge is asking him all these questions because he wants to see, like, what makes you the person that really needs this place more than this lady with 7 kids living in the house. And so he asked him, like, a ton. Guys, it was so much that was happening in that court hearing. It was just unbelievable. But basically, when it came to my lawyer speaking on my behalf, she basically brought up my personal situation as to why I need to keep the place that I'm living in. She brought up the text messages, the text that I told you guys about. Remember, I told you guys that the landlord and I were texting about the rent money initially. And all I did was I asked for my rent money back. And next thing you know, he's giving me eviction notice. She brought that up, which was very good. She brought that up because she said basically it's not about him being homeless and not having a place to stay. He asked her to leave a week and a half after she asked for rent money back. So it's a personal thing. And so she brought that situation up. She also brought up the fact that I have a daughter with cerebral palsy, CP. And she brought up that my daughter just transitioned from a special school that assists with kids with disability, and we were able to get my daughter into a regular school setting. But it's a very long, lengthy process to do this. And if I'm evicted, it's going to disrupt her learning. And, you know, she brought that up. She also brought up many other things that, you know, would help me in my situation. And like I say, the court case went on for 2 hours. His lawyer tried to throw things at me, like he brought up the text message thing where he's like, oh, you know, it was just something really that didn't make sense. The judge kind of dismissed it because it didn't make sense. It's not even worth bringing it up. But to be honest with you guys, I don't know what's going to happen, because even my lawyer said it's a 50-50 chance. I could be asked to leave. They could evict me, or they could ask me to stay. I don't know. The court hearing was November 27th. It's now January 5th. My lawyer told me that it could take up to 30 days to get an answer, because after the hearing, they don't give you an answer right away. It could take a couple of weeks. It could take up to 30 days. Well, in my case, it's been over 30 days. Due to the holidays and all them things, I think that maybe I should be hearing an answer soon. So like I tell you guys, that's the status right now. I don't know what's going to happen. If I'm evicted, then, you know, the only other place is a shelter. So we'll see what God's going to do. And I'll update you guys.